This is one of the motors from the dome. I've already pulled apart the other one. It was the one that was in worse condition because I wanted to see what we needed to do. But I thought I'd show this being torn down. So we're going to be removing the motor. We're going to take this assembly off so we can get underneath. We're going to loosen off these wheels because these are going to be replaced, as well as the belt. So just in terms of showing how this runs, this is a 12 volt motor. I've got a bench power supply here that's producing 12 volts. So you can see there's 12 volts there. The motor draws about 4 to 5 amps when it's running. So I'll just show you it running from the bench supply. And it's drawing about 4 amps. And of course the way this works is it just runs the polarity the other way if you want the motor to run the other direction. So we'll just run it that way. So we know it works, so when we put it back together again, we can test that it does. Okay, so the old wheels and the new wheels are clearly significantly differently spaced. So when this was sitting in here, this is going to have to go this way. If we have it run this way, the belt's not going to line up with the motor assembly down the bottom. So the offset is down in order to get that to be the same. Not sure why they've skimped out on the washers on the wheels. We had spare washers for the front as well, so it doesn't look like we have them on these. So the real question is, should be worried about the back. Yeah, I think the back is where there's going to be more pressure. So, and these of course have different sizes again. Okay, so now before I tighten everything up, just want to make sure everything lines up correctly. I think it's going to be a bit too challenging to do it this way. We'll get these back on first. Okay, that's really way tighter, and I can't get that to screw down. Before I try too hard to force it, might have another read of the instructions. Strangely, this is exactly what is expected for it to be this tight, and that the wheel will be tilted up at 45 degrees. And apparently, the answer is just force it. So let's just force it. Okay, that seems to me to be way tighter and more tensioned than it was before. However, it's in the exact same spot. We have ensured that the tooth belt is properly on the motor. So let's give it a test drive. Alright, so that's not ideal because it's coming off. Already going into the let's just run it for a little bit more. Interestingly, this one seems to be staying in the groove pretty well. This one does not. I'm going to pull it apart and have another look in there. Okay, in order to test what was going wrong potentially, thinking that it might be something to do with the wheels, I've swapped out 2 new wheels with new hardware that we would be putting on the other motor under normal circumstances. So if what I expect to happen happens is, if it's anything to do with the wheels, this should just function. Let's see what happens. No, it's come off over here again. Let's run it the other way. And it runs fine the other way. So, that suggests to me I believe we have an issue where this is bent which is moving the whole motor down this way, which means the tooth belt and the grooves here don't line up with each other. It's too far down. So it's trying to come off. And potentially that's more of an issue on this side than it is on this side. I can't see any other part of this equation that suggests that it's anything else. So what I'm going to attempt is I'm going to take this off. Let's see if I can just put a bend in this metal, because it is fairly lightweight, and just see if I can raise the motor a little bit further up. So if it just takes a little bit of this pressure off, so you can even see straight away down here that it's already peeling away and heading down as it's heading down towards the motor. So I can't be certain of how far off it is. I could possibly measure it across the back plate, but it's a small amount. But I'm going to see if we can manage to work out where that divergence is. So okay, so I'm just going to try and bend it. The other option is to put, I know it's kind of silly, but I'm going to put the washer underneath here, because it'll act as a bit of a spacer. And I think that will be interesting in itself. That already to me seems to be better positioned. It's not coming off this way. Now obviously there's no tension on here yet, but I feel that they are now more in line visually, and at least. So okay, I feel that positioning, even without these being snipped up very tight, has improved how that is lining up. It is not coming off, and it is not making horrendous noises. And even when there's the weight of this on here, it's not scraping, which is what it was doing before. So let's run it the other way. For whatever reason, it runs better in this direction, but it's not coming off. I'm calling that sorted by effectively implementing a spacer solution here. So the other thing that we ordered was replacements for the springs. So this will hang on the wall. There's a hook on the wall in the dome, and what we do is we hook this on at some point, and this gives us a bit of variability in terms of giving us tension, so that this point over here is anchored, and this will push up into the underside of the dome under here. So, and of course with the pressure of this lever arm here, it allows it to move and stay flush against the top. So fairly certain, in fact I know, I'm going to go and look at the springs. The top about this portion of the spring is all stretched. So, and currently the spring is set right down the bottom to try and get enough tension. So we have no more ability to move it. So what we're going to do is put new spring in as well. So coupled with better grip here, better tension on this spring, hopefully the motor not working excessively hard against itself on the wheels, those things should get us functioning and not jamming. So we will see tomorrow. So this is the current spring that will be mounted on here for the motor. This is going to sit up under there. So this is the replacement. The tension on this thing is like this is just soft and squidgy. This takes quite a lot of effort. So we're going to put this one in its place, mount the motors back up under here, and see how it operates. What's very interesting about this is that the placement of this is meaning these wheels, I believe, are actually touching the cutout here. So the difference in tolerance between the old wheels and these is fairly significant. So I'm really not certain if that should be run that way, but let's just see what I can do. That's on. I'm concerned that we're going to be scrubbing up against here, so I'm going to be super careful with how we do this. So One motor is probably sufficient to turn the dome, but it might not be. So let's just see if it turns and is scratching up here anyway. Yeah, it's definitely scratching here, the plastic. Looks like we're going to cut some fiberglass.